Chapter 3. After. One warm spring day, my mother waited for me outside the schoolyard. Her eyes and nose were red. She dropped to her knees and hugged me to her. "What is it?" I asked. "She is gone, Mishka," my mother sobbed. "Your babushka is gone." I did not understand why my mother cried so. Sometimes Baba Ishka Ina took the train to the city to visit her cousin. Once I had even ridden the train with her. "She's gone to the city," I assured my mother. I patted her cheek. "No, Mishka," my mother said. Your babushka has gone to heaven." After Baba Ishka Ina went to heaven, my mother began to forget. She forgot to wash the dishes. She forgot what day to stand in line for macaroni and what day to stand in line for bread. She cried and cried at night and forgot to take her clothes off to sleep. She forgot to read to me at night. I crawled into bed with her. I could still smell my babushka Ina. She forgot that babushka Ina said it was bad luck to cry in your soup, and that vodka and beer were very bad. She sat at the kitchen table and cried, and smoked cigarettes, and drank. She never sang again. My mother forgot to take me to kindergarten, and sometimes she forgot her job at the bakery. Sometimes I went to bed hungry. Sometimes I went to bed alone, because she went down to the village at night to meet friends. I watched her as she sat before the mirror, making herself pretty for a date. Red on her lips, blue above her eyes. "Which one's little there?" she asked, holding up one pair of earrings, then another. She hummed as she pulled on her red coat with the black, shiny buttons. She knelt in front of me, hugging me to her. "Be a good boy, Mishka. Lock the door. Don't unlock it until you know it's me." If I had known he would come, I would never have unlocked the door. Ever. His shiny pants and scuffed boots filled the doorway. My mother pushed me in front of her. "Mishka, say hello." "Hello," I said. He handed my mother a bundle of flowers, bent down and pushed his narrow face into mine. "So this is the little man in the house, hey? He's no bigger than a cockroach." His smell made my hand want to pinch my nose. "Shake hands," my mother urged, giving me another push. He grabbed my hand and squeezed it hard. "Don't worry, Ania," he said. "The boy and I will have lots of time to get to know each other." His smile was big, but did not reach his eyes. That was how it started. He took her out. He brought me a radio for company. "It's a radio," I said, holding it up for my mother to see. I twisted the knobs and held it against my ear. I can hear the world talking and singing." He snorted. "You won't hear anyone in Russia singing." "Why not?" I asked. "Because, little boy, everyone's too poor to sing." "But we are not poor," I pointed out. He threw back his head and laughed. My mother hugged me to her. "No, we are not, little bear." Soon he forgot to go home. He stayed with cigarettes and bottles of vodka in his scuffed boots next to our bed. You're too big a boy to sleep with your mother," he said. "Only little babies sleep with their mothers. Are you a baby, Mishka?" I shook my head. "I'm 5. He tossed my favorite blanket and my fairy tale book onto the bed in the sitting room. "But my mother needs me with her at night," I said, twisting the hem of my shirt. My mother would move his boots to the sitting room when she came home from work and put my blankets back in the bed. I knew she would. When she came home from her job at the bakery, she would bring a day-old loaf of black bread, potatoes, and cabbage for soup, and a fresh sticky bun for me. Instead, she came through the door that night with empty hands and a sad face. "I lost my job," she said. "You can't lose your job," he said, his black eyes narrow and hard. "How will we eat? Can't you?" He cuffed her on the side of the head. I had never seen anyone strike my mother. I waited for her to hit him back. Once, in the village, a bigger boy knocked me down. My mother grabbed the boy and shook him by the collar. The boy's eyes grew wide with fear, and he ran away as fast as he could, just like he would. But my mother did not grab him by the collar. She did not shake him until his teeth rattled. She pressed her hand to the side of her face and said, "I'm sorry." After that, they sat in the sitting room and drank and smoked and laughed and fought. He did not like me there, sitting on my bed in the corner. "He's watching me again, Anya," he said. "Why is he always watching me?" He stomped across the room and shoved me off my bed. He grabbed my blankets and my book and threw them into the pantry in the kitchen. "There," he said, dusting off his hands as if ridding himself of something dirty. "There, this is where you sleep now." My mother stood behind him, twisting her hands. I burrowed into the nest of blankets in the kitchen pantry. My book of fairy tales rested on a dusty shelf with a ghostly circles of the canned vegetables we no longer had. After days and then weeks, the beautiful golden firebird on the cover of my book was smeared with grease. On another shelf lay a pile of scrap paper and my favorite pencil. When I could not sleep because of the cold or anger, I drew pictures. I drew drawings of firebirds, a terrible witch named Baba Yaga, houses walking on chicken legs, talking dolls, giants, and wolves with wings. Their voices rose and fell beyond their pantry door. "Why can't you see he'd be better off in an orphanage?" "I can't send him away." "You can't afford to feed yourself," his voice said. "Besides, I don't like him. He's odd." "There's nothing wrong with him." Glass shattered. "It's him or me, Anya." "No, please don't ask me." Another crash. The sound of shoving angry feet on the floor. "You stupid woman!" A slap. "Don't!" A crash. A scream. A thud. A moan. Quiet.